5:30, I'd like to call the Shoreline RFA Board of Commission meeting to order. Would you please stand and join me for the pledge? I pledge allegiance
to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Beatrice, could you do roll call, please? And note that Lisa Woolham has an excused absence tonight.
Commissioner Fisher,
Yes.
Commissioner Byers,
Present.
Commissioner Admin,
Here.
Commissioner Harris,
Here.
Commissioner Heveland,
Here.
Commissioner Knight,
Here.
Commissioner Pratt. No Commissioner Pratt.
Has anybody heard from Josh? We'll assume he's on his way. Tyler's texting him.
Commissioner Sullivan,
Here.
Commissioner Webster,
Here.
Commissioner Woolham.
Excuse
Oh, that's
me.
right, sorry, excuse absence, thank you. And then our Chief McCallum.
Here.
Thank you. Any public comment? I don't see public. Consideration of the agenda, Chief?
I think we're good. Thank you.
Okay. Approval of the past minutes from June 26, 2015. Do we have a motion?
I'll make a motion that we approve the past meeting minutes as they were amended.
Because they were amended.
I think they amended something.
Yeah, there were some
Amended.
But I read it over and they were.
amendments.
Okay. Okay, do we have a second?
I'll second.
Any
Commissioner Pratt, the same thing as
discussion or
second.
further adjustments? Hearing none, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Passes unanimously. Correspondence, we have a very nice thank you letter in here from a citizen. Always nice to see those. Sorry, can't write and talk at the same time. Warrants, motion to approve of the standing agenda.
I'll move to accept disbursements in the amount of $1,024,024.85.
A motion by Commissioner Heveland, we have.
I'll second.
And seconded by Commissioner Sullivan. Any discussion, questions? Hearing none, all in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Passes unanimously. Commissioner report. Commissioner Heveland.
I really have nothing.
Okay.
No, nothing for Commissioner Webster.
No report.
Good.
No report.
Barb?
report. No report.
Alaska was wonderful. Boy, you guys are a lively bunch. Okay. No financial report as of yet, hopefully by the end of the month. Strategic activity report, Chief. Anything new?
Probably nothing except for, will be included in Chief Oakeside's report.
Okay.
Yes.
Josh is in the waiting room.
Oh,
Oh, thank you.
Beatrice, could you please note that Commissioner Pratt is with us virtual? Thank you. Activity reports, RFA activity reports. Let's start with Chief Callens. Any questions or comments for Chief? I had one under contracts, Chief. You met with Shoreline we figured out EM was the
Oh, sorry.
emergency manager.
Emergency manager.
And I didn't realize that we had a new one, until we questioned what EM was.
It was the first time I met her. as well.
Okay. Movement having Shoreline LFP and Kenmore joined together as in,
They're
All under
still,
one
they're
management?
starting to, this has been a battle, as you know, for a few years.
NEPCO.
They're still talking, and I think I'm starting to feel a little more optimistic that we're gonna see something and have people join together. We're still kind of waiting for Kenmore. They have an interim city manager. They should be naming, will likely name her, I think, in the next couple of weeks. I think it was supposed to be, maybe it was it's about now, actually, I
The city
think.
did actually pick that, they're negotiating the contract, but they did pick.
Oh, they did, okay,
Yeah.
thank you. So, yeah, you got an inside person now.
So
So, and I think that, one of the things that they've been waiting on is to determine, who's gonna be city manager and, then they were gonna start acting on some of these other things. So, I know that Shoreline is actively talking to, the two other cities. And I'm hopeful,
Kind of
which is
nice.
better than I've been. So this has been a roller coaster. It's been no, yes, no, yes. Now it's quite possible. Hopeful.
Hopeful. Let's
Well, I
look-
think it's especially important for Lake Forest Park and and Kenmore, because them on standalone would be a problem. So I think this is a good thing for everybody. I felt Chief Oakstein and Orange were there as well. I felt like this was kind of a good kickoff for, discussing, overall emergency management.
Awesome.
Yeah, they picked, the city of Kenmore picked Terry Kilgore as the manager.
That's the interim, that was the interim.
Mhm.
Oh,
No. She's the current economic development director for the city of Scottsdale, Arizona. That's who they picked.
okay.
But they did pick, and my understanding is they're just negotiating the contract.
What's the name of the interim right now?
Stephanie Lucas.
Stephanie.
Is there any further questions for Chief Cowan? Chief, did you have anything you wanted to add to that?
No, but thank you for asking.
All right, let's move on to Chief Hookstein's.
I apologize, the last line of my report should say that I was on vacation from July 6th to the 8th. I do have an update about 57, if you want me to do that now.
Absolutely.
Unless there's any questions first, but Anders and I met with our two members of the TCA architectural firm yesterday at 57, along with their mechanical engineer subcontractor, and we also met with the project manager from Mac Miller, who's going to be doing the generator project for us at 57. The purpose of that meeting was to evaluate options for simultaneously conducting the HVAC work at 57 in parallel with the generator work, which we're expecting to happen in December. The generator work continues to be on track for, like I said, for December. It's been, the generator's been ordered, so that's good. All the architect, the mechanical engineer, and the contractor from McDonald Miller all felt there's a strong possibility that we could do all that work simultaneously. HVAC and generator work having an effect, having a one-time effect on the crews, getting several functions done at once. Obviously, we would likely have to go out to bid off the small works roster, most likely, because it seems like there's consensus that we can keep the HVAC work. I don't want to overcommit anything, so take this with a grain of salt at the moment, but we feel initially like we could get the HVAC work done with the VRF systems for under 350,000 for 57. That would allow us to use the small works roster based on financial policy instead of going out for sealed bid. There is some value identified in if Mac Miller were chosen to be the contractor for that job. There is some value, it looks like, in having one general run a couple projects at the same time. That doesn't mean that that's the contractor we need to choose, and that's what probably going out using the small works roster, putting in an RFP together will do. But the architects are going to help us design that system. We did use some feedback from Mac Miller, as we have received some feedback from PSR Mechanical, who does our preventative maintenance for Station 57 on that unit, on those units. In the past, we can put together a design with the architects and their mechanical engineer for what that looks like. But there was confidence that we could meet a timeline to get that done simultaneously with the generator project in December. If we needed a few more weeks, we could potentially move the generator project to immediately right after the holidays and start at the very beginning of January to get both done. But we're working aggressively to get those options, that design completed, and RFP created, and then only with this board's approval if you want us to go ahead with that RFP. And once we receive the design, we'll present that to the board. Look for your approval. Go out to RFP. Go out with the RFP process for that HVAC work. But these are ductless systems where we were up in the mechanical room last night. We get to take away all of that equipment up there, mostly, right? Other than maybe putting what's called an ERV unit up in that space, and then be able to have the benefit of using electric versus gas, which meets the new state clean building code requirements that they're pushing, and also allows the benefit of each bedroom having its own heating control or cooling control. Runs way more efficiently, and there's enough capacity in the generator to run that system. So a lot of good things with this project. It is recognized that the units that are there are end of life, and so we're going to have to do something, as we've talked about previously. That was something that was looked at 5 years ago during the remodel, but postponed, and so definitely an opportunity here to do that work and do it in conjunction and potentially save some money and inconvenience to the crews. Additionally, we looked at briefly some design ideas of adding an additional bedroom to Station 57 if the department feels like there's a need to have an 8-car there 24 hours a day. And if we don't put that extra bedroom in there at this time, at least designing the new HVAC system to be able to expand in the future to capture a 7th bedroom, right? And that would have an effect on where, for example, the gym is currently, maybe having to move some of the rooms around. But I think we all felt that we could come up with a design plan that would maintain it all on the first floor instead of having to go to a 2nd floor, which would save us a lot of money as well. So all things we're looking at, but very optimistic about our options. Deciding to put a 7th bedroom and what that ripple effect of moving some stuff around in the station means, we'll have to evaluate as it relates to what exactly we want to spend money on and when. We also have some other priorities that we need to deal with. A shop redo here and potentially some updates to office space on the 1st floor at 51 or whatever. But I'm very excited to have the architects in hand, and we're not slowing down with the amount of work that we're jumping in with them to tackle right off the bat. So, any questions about any of that I can help try and answer?
Coincidentally, this move for the HVAC, it's not tied to it, but we just got a letter asking us from the state about clean energy and what we're doing. And we're gonna have to do an analysis and report out on how much energy we use, what our plans are, and this and that. They're starting to kind of tighten up on that. So this should be a good, not a segue, but a good project to point to as to how we're trying to address those requirements.
So are we gonna get some insight into that energy audit process?
Oh, yeah, you certainly can. I mean, it's not coming till it's not required until 27.
Yeah, there's a lot there. It's a deep well of trying to understand a lot of stuff. But I think at the end of the day, the state has passed some initiatives to require buildings of certain size based on a tiered system. There's going to be some requirements in place about clean energy usage, right? It looks like this building, for example, would be a tier 2 building, which is a building over 20,000 square feet, but less than 50. It also accompanies like condos and apartment buildings. But this size building 51, for example, would fall into that. There's a lot of kind of just self-reporting of energy use, and the state is motivated to help building owners meet these requirements. There is the language in these notices about penalties per square foot if you don't reach certain energy requirements by certain dates down the road in a few years. So we've got an opportunity right now to dive into this and figure out, we've, Commissioner Admin, you and I have talked briefly about, ways that we can address, energy usage of our buildings already. And all of those will, I think, be wrapped into these new initiatives by the state that have been adopted. Definitely HVAC companies are a huge component of this, but I'm going to have to find some bandwidth to dig into that more deeply to understand what our requirements are and so forth, but it's on my desk.
The general feeling I got was that they're actually looking to get more data and information at this point. So not a stick necessarily, but a better understanding of what is out there, how energy is being used, and to put it on our radar as well to try and proactively address it. But I would also say a stick will come at some point, if we're not addressing it.
Is there anything else? Moving on to Chief Orms's report. I do have a question. Can you explain what's going on with EMS and the MIH program?
Yeah, we are kind of realigning. Sorry, we are realigning our MIH program to meet its initial intent. We're gonna keep the clinical coordination and the psychology part the same. We're not gonna make any changes to that, but we are gonna put some emphasis on responding to the community responses again. We're gonna start implementing in October.
So
there's also work that they'll be doing with a program at King County EMS called Communities of Care. They'll be working with skilled nursing facilities, assisted living facilities, and some of our adult family homes to do education and communication with the skilled nursing and assisted living facilities.
are we going to have two separate divisions at MIH and then we're going back to CMT?
Kind of, it'll live in the same. It'll live in the same division. but we are redeploying the CMT.
Okay.
Does that mean that we have, so we have 2 MIHs right now?
We have 2 clinical coordinators and we have 2 CSOs.
But and don't they operate as like, I mean, they have like 2 vehicles and they operate as 2 teams?
It's,
So is there gonna be like a 3rd team, or is one team to be sort of converted?
one team is going to be kind of realigned.
I see.
Yeah, the CMT unit will be kind of redeployed, and the FEL will continue their clinical coordination work. So they will not be part of the response model.
Most of the time, we only have one unit service, but this is gonna focus on preventative stuff and low acuity calls at the same time, with different emphasis in different units.
What was the driver for that?
It was the original intent by King County EMS when they provided funds for MIH to have them help basically reduce the impact of low acuity calls and fire funds. So there was some mission creep, some drift maybe, and we were just trying to.
We made a decision a while back that we were going to, we didn't feel there was as much value at the time to go on low acuity calls, and so we then focused on the referrals, which is what you see now. That was intentional. We discussed it, and that was intentional at the time. And in retrospect, I think that like Chief Arnold said, I think we missed the mark a little bit as to what the expectations were. So we're trying to reset a bit on this and still address our referrals, but also low acuity calls and getting out and doing some proactive training.
The work that John was doing.
What's coming down at Fircrest?
I'm sorry, that should say Sears. So the crews are trained in Sears with the elevators this week, simulating getting people out of their truck.
Anything else for Chief Arms? Moving on to old business. Staffing Management Program Partnership. Chief?
So I sent you, I don't know if you had a chance to review the documents that I sent, but this is something that we've been working on now for, well, almost a year. Actively, we were pushing last fall to be able to align Bothell and Shoreline's staffing program under the Vector Solutions software. At the time, just not enough bandwidth, not enough time to get it across the finish line in place for the beginning of the year. And we could do it mid-year, but it makes a whole lot more sense to do it at the beginning of the year. So we've been revisiting it, and I've briefed the board on the biggest issue there, the biggest challenge or hurdle has been to align the CBA language and policies so that if we are managing it, that it's fairly seamless and that our personnel in Shoreline are under the same rules as the personnel in Bothell. So that if they weren't, there would be some fairly, I would say, non-viable opportunities for error, where it would just be too difficult for the day shift PCs to not have to be going back and fixing errors as we were treating these two different groups under two different rules. So one of the big pieces is going to be coming hopefully in September, which would be an MOU between the city of Bothell and local 2099, the Bothell's union, to adopt all of our CBA and policies, except for things that are pertinent to the employer, such as benefits, insurance, and so forth. And so it's not like North Shore where the employees are coming over or anything like that. This is just to align with how we do day-to-day staffing and those practices. And so the first step is next week, City Council to allow us to buy the licenses, develop, onboard and develop the program in a silo, in a test environment in preparation for September. which would be that full implementation that I just mentioned, so that we can do vacation scheduling in October, November, and then go live with the full implementation on January 1 of next year. So the city's gonna need to reimburse us for the licenses and the time on task. The big lift will come in September, and then the financially on January 1. The goal here, if everything works out and it's moving forward, would be to do a time on task evaluation starting in January to make sure that we're not subsidizing or gouging Buckle with the estimates on the cost. I've kind of estimated high with those, hopefully, with those costs, and sometime we probably have to go 2 or 3 months before we would know what that average usage per day is, and we would be reimbursed for all those costs. So there is capacity within the day shift BC work schedule to absorb some of this work, or this work, and so that's why. But at the same time, we need to be reimbursed for that time on task. This isn't something new, but it is coming up. It's coming up next week for the silo, or for the siloed staffing to get it all onboarded and everything. So I still don't have well, actually today it got finalized. I just don't have a copy of it for you tonight, but it did get finalized for the agenda bill for next week. Nothing really changed substantively. It was just some moving around of the language that was in the current agenda that you have, that I sent to you. That's the short version.
Do all the parties seem to be in agreement that this is what they want to do?
So I had a study session, or I should say, we had a study session with the city council about 3 months back, I think. I can't remember the exact date, to brief them on the why behind this and all that. They had some questions. They wanted to see some final proposals and some costing, which we didn't have at that time. And so so they were cognizant of this a while back. The city manager, Kyle Stanner, has been briefing the council members on this, at least one-on-one as we've gotten closer. I believe that everybody, certainly the administration of the department, the body of the department, the city manager's department, and HR are all on board with this and have reviewed it. Legal has reviewed it and so forth. But we haven't had an opportunity to get a lot of feedback from the city council yet, because we introduced it and there's been some one-on-ones. So it is on the consent agenda. So I believe that's an indication that this is should be fairly well supported for next Tuesday.
Further questions? Okay, we'll move on to the next item. Commissioners' involvement in committees. Chief?
Thank you, Kim, for responding with input on committees. Just as a reminder, there's I kind of identified 5 different committees to potentially populate. The whole reason behind this is that to not only get perspective from you all, it's a different perspective on these committees than we typically might receive from more of our internal working. So it's great to get that perspective, but it's also good for the board to hear back that perspective when we start talking about some of these things, especially if it's a bit more controversial. So some of these certainly require a whole lot more, and you don't have to come to every meeting either, by the way. You are not required to attend these meetings. It would be just great to have your involvement in them. And so, because some of these meetings, like say, the budget, the finance meeting, or committee, we're meeting when we get into it, every couple of weeks typically, and it's sometimes all day affairs. So, please don't be overwhelmed or intimidated that this is going to take a huge amount of your time. But if you're interested, I'd love to have you. So I'm looking for up to 2 for finance, up to 1 for LMC, 1 for negotiations, up to 2 for strategic planning, and 1 for distinguished service. Some of these, again, like strategic planning, that's going to come up at some point, but there's nothing really going on from a committee level, at least, on that one. I tried to put some notes in the email, but was there any questions about time commitment or role or any of that?
Similar to what you did before, right?
Yes, this is similar, this isn't really any different than what I've done before, with y'all, but I did add distinguished service, because Rod's been, part of that for quite a long time. And I'd forgotten to mention that in some of these, in my previous meetings, but when I started listing it out loud, I'm like, oh, I forgot about this committee, so. At one point, I was talking about, combining LMC and negotiations. I ended up keeping them separated out. Mostly because they are different focuses and different timing, like negotiations is pretty intensive every few years. And now and then they're sporadic, but LMC is like once every month, so there's differences there, so. Again, we don't have to populate them, but if you're interested, that would be great.
You want us to email you?
Just right here.
If there's more than what we're, like if 5 of you guys want to be on one of these committees, then I don't want to upset you guys, so I'm gonna kick it back to you all to figure out who's gonna represent the board on these things. But right now, I have interest from Kim on a couple of committees, but if you're interested, yeah, please let me know either now or, by email, and if I end up with more people, then I'll just come back to the next meeting or something.
I'll do the finance.
Okay.
I'd be interested in strategic planning.
Okay.
I'd be interested in labor management.
This is great. You guys are all over the board so far. This is perfect.
Chief, I'd be interested in strategic planning as well.
Okay. Mike, can I keep you on distinguished service?
Still ones on off, but
What's the other one you're on? I can't remember.
negotiations.
Negotiations. Okay. Well, that pretty much takes care of our committees then. If you're ever wanting to come to one of these committees, just let me know too, especially if somebody else, if the members can't attend, then you could be an alternate or something too. So, all right, great, thank you. That was it.
I might want to do that if I can, depending on what time it starts.
Okay. Well, and again, certainly like say finance, that is,
Happens all day.
that's, and those are busy ones. And so I don't expect that you guys are all gonna be able to make it for the whole time. So please just let me know.
Yeah.
And that was,
I
that was.
appreciate the opportunity. That's great.
Okay, thank you.
You have what you need then, Chief?
I do.
Okay. Will you summarize and send it off to all of us so we remember what we volunteered for?
Absolutely. And part of this too, just is once, now that we're populating these things, we'll add you to the distribution list. So when Beatrice or I or whoever is putting out emails, you'll get the invites, to the meetings and emails, on that.
Okay. Moving on to new business, we have resolution 2516. Chief?
So we are ending the petty cash account for the district and establish it for the RFA. So that's what's in front of you now.
Okay. Do we have a motion?
I'll move to authorize the governing board of commissioners to sign resolution 25-16 and authorize the fire chief or designee to establish the petty cash checking account at U.S. Bank to be used as outlined in policy admin 126.3 financial procedures.
A motion by Commissioner Sullivan. Do we have a second?
I'll second that, Commissioner Webster.
Webster. Okay, discussions, questions?
What's the purpose for the separate ambulance account?
Different funding, different budget. We have to keep them separate. Good question.
Anything else? Hearing none, all in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Passes unanimously. I apologize, and if we want to put this off until next meeting, that's fine too. I did have something I added to the agenda under new business, it's just up for discussion. Can we go ahead and discuss it, or do you want me to officially put it on the agenda for next time? Take 2 minutes.
That's discussed.
All right.
Yeah.
Where the discussion
Yeah,
will be
2 minutes.
located under.
No problem.
The section.
My grandson was timing me in the grocery store yesterday. Grandma, you have 4 minutes left.
Okay, but not anything that we, okay.
Going over the agenda, I know there's been a lot of changes to it, and that's fine. I wanted to bring up the roll call thing. That's something Shoreline has never done. Beatrice just kind of looks around and writes down who's here and who's virtual, and if somebody is missing, it's questioned, has anybody heard from that person? Can we go back to that and save a little bit of time? Would anybody have any objection just to not do the roll call anymore and let Beatrice just mark down who's here?
I don't have any objection at all, except for the only thing would be, I mean, I guess it appears in the minutes, so I was gonna say the meeting was recorded, so it just says who's there, but since the minutes will reflect who's there, that's fine.
Yeah, we did it for the optics, is why we did it,
Oh, okay.
for transparency, so.
Transparency, hi, we're here.
I know there's anybody, but that's why we did it.
I'm just-
Yeah,
And they used to just
Right.
have the audio uploads too, so it wasn't always with the video.
that was the other part, because a lot of times we didn't have video, it was just,
Mm.
so you roll call.
I can understand if we didn't have video, but. Okay, Beatrice, can you take that off the agenda then and go back to just having you mark this down? Okay. And then we're looking at the minutes, we'll make sure that it's correct.
And then will she ask if one of our commissioners is missing, does she bring that up at the?
If she doesn't, the board chair should be bringing it up.
All right.
Like I said tonight, Josh was missing in action there for a little bit, and Tyler got on the phone to find out. Lisa Woolen did text me earlier today. She's got some issues going on that she needs to deal with, so she said that she will not be here at all, so that worked out great. And I made sure I texted her back to acknowledge that I had gotten the email or the text message. So if anybody is absent again, please, text messages work best for me. I don't always check emails, my bad, but.
Or me or Beatrice.
Right, exactly, somebody.
We usually,
And even if it's not a chair or a chief, text somebody in the group.
I
and let them know.
mean, with our board was always to the board secretary, and then it was passed on that way. Seemed to work.
That would be fine too, if you guys just let somebody know. Okay, perfect. Moving on to projected agendas.
Actually, I believe I will be here for August 21st, by the way.
Okay,
And one other thing is just Ken Callahan's celebration of life is this Sunday at 2 at the Enos Art Community Club.
I am certainly going to try to attend, but we've had some family matters come up too, so pending what happens this weekend.
Yeah, I'm battling a conflict as well.
It looks like we need to look ahead at October 2nd's meeting. It's not on the agenda yet, but it's on future dates down at the bottom of the page. A lot of the chiefs and at least 2 board members are going to be attending the leadership summit conference over in, that direction. So we may be looking at having to move the meeting.
Is there anyone else absent? Or will be Zoom potentially or potential absent?
Tyler confirmed July 24th. He needs an excused absence unless he can get on virtual.
I would like August 7th, if it's all right.
August 7th. This one, no, keep this one.
So excused
Pardon?
or maybe on Zoom or excused for you, Bob?
Excuse, August 7th.
Okay,
I might Zoom, but I don't have Wi-Fi.
Okay, yeah, I'll do the same.
Julie and Sturgis.
Virtual or, okay.
I'm gonna be on vacation the 24th. I'll try to zoom in if I can.
24th of July.
And is that Josh or?
Sorry, this is Rick.
Rick? Okay, sorry.
The other Rick.
We had two Ricks.
Just realized that. I know. I jumped every time.
Rick N or Rick W?
Sorry, Rick Nye.
We got it, It's just messing. Okay, is there anything else? We still don't know about September 11th yet? Ceremony?
For badge fitting.
Yeah,
Uh,
9 paramedics and 1 MSO.
yeah, do you know what Kenneth's position? Get a hold of- I will get back to you. Let me look into that again.
Okay, all right. It's not here yet, but coming up. Like you don't have anything else to do? Okay, anything else?
Move to adjourn.
6:11.
Second.
Or are we seconding?
Yeah, 6:11, Rod and Rick Webster.
Have to add a love thing.
Rick W, isn't that what they used to do in school?
They used to do a lot of other things at school.